then for Piper's sake, if Piper has not already been updated as to what happened last time, can we do a quick recap to fill in what's been going on? Or what, at least what happened last time and the group's current goal?
Maddie and Electra abandoned the non-fighters to go hunt.
Yeah. You ever heard of snuff hounds?
Hunters would know snuff hounds.
Why did we abandon them?
To go hunt, to find food.
Okay.
And they got abandoned by the makeshift campsite while Paige and Pierre were waiting patiently and Willow was elbows deep in spider creature. And I conveniently forgot that, there's a lot of things in the forest that's attracted to light, so hunters tend not to have campfires because they tend
And
to
we
have
didn't
ways
bother
of seeing
telling
in
you
the
guys.
dark.
Nope.
And
Not bother
didn't tell
telling us.
us. So we got.
Here you guys go. Sit by this campfire. Stay here. We'll be right back.
Well, we
I
ended up getting
imagined it to be.
stalked by snuff hounds.
I imagined it to be less of, here, we set a campfire, which we know we're not supposed to do. Now we're going to leave. Goodbye. And more of, we're going to go hunt for food. We won't be gone too long. Just wait here for us in this clearing. And you guys started a campfire because that's what you do when you set up a camp.
It's getting dark.
But yeah, we got stalked by snuff hounds, which are like weird shadow coyote monsters that devour light. And we didn't end up having to fight them because Willow figured out that they wanted the light and was like trying to figure out what to do with them. It was just like tossing like burning twigs their direction. And then fucking weird ass woman comes popping out of the trees and immediately kills one and chases them into the trees.
She's a very normal woman.
She fucking comes back.
Comes back and is very clearly a weirdling of some sort. And knows Hawk. And because she knows Hawk knows of Maddie and of hunters, but she is not a hunter, like officially. From what I understand, she's also a Feykin of some sort. Or at least that's what Willow is surmising.
She's just some girl who has just always been in the woods.
Yeah, there's nothing weird about that.
Who talks in riddles.
Riddles is... she's just Welsh.
Okay, bitch. I have heard Welsh people talk. You're talking in riddles.
You're talking in fucking riddles, my dude. Okay, she talks in riddles and a Welsh accent.
True. But after the snuff hounds were dealt with, Angharad was invited to sit by the fire and regale everyone with stuff and just hang out. And I believe she and Maddie had a 20 questions session in text form where they bonded.
She gave us lore drops on some things we needed to know.
Yes, that is true. Angharad advised the party that if they are looking to chase down yon witch of the woods, that their two best options for Fae within the forest are the Queen of Broken Branches, who is partial to children but doesn't hurt them. Usually she's just very possessive, who might be able to marshal some forces. Or alternately, someone named Dee Dee, who is an extremely good hunter and would be able to track down this child in a flash. However, has done some slight murdering and for that has been imprisoned.
I think you're glossing over some things there.
I
About
I
Dee
don't
Dee?
know if I am. I think I
feel like I
included
glossed
all
over
of the
the fact
relevant
that she was
information.
imprisoned because how she ate was very vicious, and that fact that she ate people, ate the entire body except the skin, which she then wore.
It's fine.
And therefore, she was imprisoned.
And all of this, the reason we got this info dump is that there are more and more people that are starting to look for this girl that is potentially carrying the
Pandora's
box.
Correct. So, do you, Piper, have any questions about all of that stuff? Gesturing wildly with my hand.
So went out to go get food, came back. They dealt with snuff hounds. Also, some random Welsh lady. Random Welsh
lady helped deal with the snuff hounds.
helped deal with
Yeah,
the
Yeah,
snuff
like
snuff hounds were dealt with by the time y'all got back.
Dropped Laura.
wearing armor and carrying a big ass scythe.
Yes, it's a
Yep.
big ass scythe.
Mm-hmm.
And then dropped Laura on us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so now we're going to have a discussion over either before we go to bed or when we wake up in the morning over where the fuck we're going, whether we're going Queen or we're going Dee Dee.
Or
There's
neither.
also the renegade third option of just trying to find her ourselves.
Yeah, but the
True.
downside to that is we have those two would theoretically have either manpower or ability to track quick and easily. We don't, because we don't even have something to really start with other than she is vaguely in the woods.
Yeah.
So, hope that
Got
makes
my
sense.
opinion, Piper?
I didn't hear the two names.
Dee Dee,
like-
or Dee Dee is the person who has a a carnivorous diet for which she's been unjustly judged. And the Queen of Broken
Bullshit
Branches
right there.
is the other one.
Fucking bullshit.
Okay.
Uh,
I now have
And they are
a
both
grasp.
Fey or Fey adjacent type beings, from what I gather.
the Queen's a
Yeah.
Fae.
And
Yes, the Queen is very explicitly a Fae, and Dee Dee is Fae involved in, or not involved in, is like within that umbrella, partially.
We were kind of.
sorry, just ask, like, do we have like knowledge of Fae working with the same kind of rule sets that like we understand above table, or do Fae work in a different way?
There are a lot of things that above table, from on an above table level, a lot of the Fae rules that you are familiar with that kind of just exist as legend in actual reality, those have been applied to these Fae. Like the speaking no falsehoods, like always being truthful, that sort of thing. All of those sort of rules apply in one way or another, not equally to all Fae, as in like one Fae might always be truthful or always answer questions perfectly honestly, but they do not have to answer the question necessarily. Or like, what is the example I used to explain this to someone else? Because it was like, so like one creature who you are talking to, and you ask a question to, that Fae can answer the question with something they know to be true, but they won't like a more powerful Fae can outright neglect to answer that question initially altogether. Like more powerful Fae have more ability to bend those rules to suit their own needs.
Gotcha. Okay.
So and that like other typical things are like Fae love like there's a general rule, like the rule of 3. Fae love things in 3s. Or rather than saying they love them, they are drawn to things in 3s. Typically like 3 square meals or 3 drinks before dinner, or like
It's like a habit.
yeah, it's kind of like a nervous tick or a habit. You'll notice that a lot of the garments or things that some of the more powerful Fae adorn themselves with typically have 3 of a particular gem or design on them. That sort of thing.
Gotcha. Okay. Heard Iris had a question when I interrupted her.
Oh, I was just pointing out. Yeah, we don't know if DD is Fae, quote unquote, but it was implied that we had to make a deal with them, like that we could wiggle our way through a deal with them, which is very Fae.
Yes,
I thought it
that
was
is a very
explicitly
Fae thing.
stated that they were Fae.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I will say that Dee is a Fae, but like on an above table level, she could be like a lot of the creatures in this are blurry between one explicit thing and another explicit thing. So like you can have a ghost that is also partially a Fae creature, as like a Fae that died and transcended into a spiritual form. So you can have things that are both undead and also Fae, or unholy and also undead. That is a more hunter category specific thing.
Yeah, I just realized you updated the document, and I was kind of reading them like, oh, so they have classifications now. Okay.
Yeah, and that's something I'm gonna kind of stick to. Is like the general idea is there is one thing that a particular beast is mostly. They are mostly this thing, but they are a little bit they are a little bit B and maybe also C.
We got Pokemon typing going on.
Oh yeah, that's kind of accurate actually. I never really thought of it as Pokemon, but you're kind of weirdly right.
Well, there you go. There's your structure for how you like finish organizing shit.
So what you need to do, Joe, is you need to go ahead and get whatever token art you use and make Pokemon cards.
Oh no. These would be weird fucking Pokemon cards, man.
We gotta collect them all. We gotta catch them all.
The section you made for types of beasts in particular is very, very helpful.
Yeah, good.
Vampire types are weak to pixie types. Pixie types are weak to werewolves.
And did you have a question, Kira? Because you also got cut off for a second.
No, I was just going to refer back to the fact that Iris had a question.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, friends.
Cool. So you were all on your way to meet the Queen of Broken Branches.
Wait, are we?
We didn't choose.
We didn't
You didn't choose yet?
We didn't choose
sorry.
shit, my dudes. Slow the fuck down.
That is my bad. That was my bad. I thought you I thought you had totally already chose. That was my bad.
No, because
Cool.
we made the decision that it was number one getting too deep into the game, and we wanted Piper to be able to be here because it'll be choosing what we're doing for the next couple of sessions potentially.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And then I remember now the decision was kicked to the morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Ankarad did watch, and whether anyone else wanted to do a watch over that evening,
no,
you're welcome to if you'd like. But Ankarad was doing the watch for you all.
I have an RP conversation that I want to have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. When would you want to do this? Would you want to do it like in the night when everyone is settling in for rest, or in the morning early in the night? Okay. Yeah. So this would take place after a good bit of conversation had happened. Obviously, after the initial introduction of Ankarad, and also after Willow, you would have gotten through most of the cleaning of the bodies of the snuff hounds and the hermit spiders.
Yeah, Willow
Um,
looks absolutely a hot mess, but also
mhm.
I imagine like Lisa Silvers probably looks something like Willow does right now.
Yes. The only difference is like the color swap, where like Lisa is typically coated in like dark reds and amber and like blood tinged colors with a leathery backdrop, and then Willow is the leather worksman backdrop with like bits of green and black and like sap, like bile, like the blood and the viscera of some of these creatures is not overtly red. The snuff hound is some of it's red,
Just these
but when
glass
you
jars
think,
of various bits and pieces, and like, what is it? I don't know. I'm gonna find out though.
I distinctly recall you extracting the one of the snuff hounds like snuff glands like in their throat or something that is like charcoal black,
Yep.
which that gave you a nice patina, like a full all the way up to the elbows, a little bit around the neck and the face, like all that. You got a nice like coal dusting.
Yeah, she has a smoke bomb.
I have so many things now that I'm gonna be working on.
Hell yeah.
Her current prize trophy is a giant glass jar full of spider eyes.
She is very
Spider eyes.
painstakingly pulled out one by one.
Spider eyes, mind you, that are like the smallest of which is like the size of a golf ball. Like massive, like orbs, beads of spider eye.
They range from like
Revolting,
golf ball
truly.
to softball, right?
Mm-hmm. But yes, the evening has settled in, and the conversation betwixt Maddie and Anghared. If you guys would like to go over some of what you covered, you can if you like after this little bit here with whomever Piper you would like to pull aside for this little interaction.
Hey Paige, you got a minute?
What the fuck? Sorry. Wasn't expecting this, but okay.
Find the voice, take your second.
Okay. I thought I had another half hour to just chill. Nope. Okay.
You're the target today.
Why the fuck is Paige the target? Okay. I imagine Paige was like, she had her tent set up with Pierre, and she just changed it to her little jammies. And she was just like, I don't know, putting away her little like notebooks and shit. She hears this and like she like perks up, head snaps over.
The means as she finds the voice.
Okay. Sure. Do you want to here? Oops. That's the fucking last person I was expecting you to fucking pull. The fuck?
Okay, sorry, my audio cut out. What did you say?
She said, sure? Did you want to talk here or like somewhere else? She's like right outside her tent.
Do you think your tent's private enough? If not,
we can go somewhere. Pierre pokes his head out of the tent and like blinks. He is inside of the tent, kind of on his back, having like been partway through unfolding his pillow and or unfolding his mat and whatever, and just like looks at you and just, I can clear out if you want the tent.
That depends. Does Pierre count or no?
Somewhere where it's just us would be nice.
Okay. She turns to Pierre. Is like, you stay there.
Pierre gives you a little bit of a concerned look, but it's a hunter, so he just nods.
Yeah, it's very much like, I don't trust you wandering off by yourself. I'd rather be with a hunter away from the tent than you be by yourself. So who the fuck knows where you're gonna go? But she's gonna fucking close her shit up, toss her little backpack into the tent, give a little fucking peace sign to Pierre, and just fucking throw on her fucking boots back on. She's in her like jammies. Imagine she's got like a long t-shirt and long pants that are very like fluffy and fuzzy, and now she threw on her fucking like hiking boots. Her outfit is very uncoordinated, but it's very soft and it's very cute. She just fucking skips over.
So she's gonna lead Paige well out of earshot from everybody else. So whatever conversation they're about to have, it's gonna be a private one.
What the
Mhm.
fuck?
So
Please
you
don't
take
kill Paige.
you take Paige and like look over your shoulder. You don't want to get too far away that you're in danger of getting like in a bad spot, but you can get far enough away that you can have a decently hushed conversation and know that nobody will hear casually. Unless you're shouting, nobody will hear you. And you're still within that little open glade area. It's as you can see, like it is definitely distinctly nighttime. It's very dark and there's little bits of cloud overhead. The tree canopy kind of parts and lets a little bit of moonlight in. It's a very calm night.
Alright.
She's gonna pull out like a little flask of like whiskey or something and offer her a sip.
No, I gotta remember that I am the paranoid ass bitch. Paige is not. That's all I'm thinking here is like, oh my god, is my character about to fucking die?
Paige
About to get
offered
roofied.
a drink. Paige is like, I can fucking mix this if you want. No
Yeah,
hesitation.
Paige is fucking just like whiskey. She like snips the flask and she just fucking pulls out a fucking little I forget what it's called. The little mixer thingy, shaker. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Pulls out the fucking little shaker and just like presents it as in a ta-da.
Electra shrugs and gives her the flask to mix.
She's gonna fucking take that and she's gonna fucking mix the whiskey with something. It's red.
Do you always have a pocket drink mixer on you?
What kind of bartender would I be if I couldn't mix a drink whenever?
I feel like that's shouldn't be as a priority as it is, but to each their own.
What the heck? Anyway, pours it out back into, I guess, like the top part of the shaker as like a makeshift cup and just like hands it over. And she looks like very like intrigued of like, okay, taste. What does it taste like? She's looking very like intently.
She'll take a swig of it.
Mm. And I imagine she had like I don't know what it's called, but it's a type of like syrupy thingy. I think it's like a simple syrup, but I think she has it like raspberry flavored one.
Grenadine?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that she
Yeah,
makes
you
with
can
whiskey.
have like a little pocket grenadine and do a little quick mix and get like a very simple like a
Mhm.
whiskey. It's not really a whiskey sour, but you kind of
A
it
whiskey sweet.
is a whiskey sweet, yeah. But it's just a very simple drink, simple but effective. In like Electra, I don't know how often you drink like whiskey straight, but you have a flask of it. So tasting this, like having just taken like just a straight sip of whiskey, which is just it's liquid fire, right? It burns in a kind of familiar, nice way, and then you get this, and this it it kind of tastes like you're drinking pancake syrup in a bizarre but like not unpleasant way. It's very sweet though. This is like delightful, but kind of unnatural for you. It's like, how the fuck did she do that from like stuff she pulled out of her basically pajama pockets?
Yeah.
She pulls it out of her hat.
See her take a slip, and you see her mouth kind of pucker a little bit, as if she's like suddenly getting used to this taste. Uh, very very sweet. I don't even know if you can call this a drink anymore. It's not bad.
Paige nods. She like puts back her fucking pocket grenadine away. It's like, yes, it's better than a drink. It's sweet, you know. Some people
What do you
think
call it?
I don't know.
In the Hunters Guild, everything has a name, even the drinks.
Okay, so you are good at naming things, so you name it. Any name. You know, it could
I'll
be.
name it a page.
I already have a truck named a Page.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's. I mean, when I was a kid, it was a chocolate and milk and sprinkles and sugar and added sugar. It was a long time ago. It's not on the menu anymore. But
That is starting to sound less and less like a drink and more like an ice cream or something else.
It's better than ice cream. Okay, anyway, look, are you going to finish it or no?
And then, well, if it isn't the page, how about? And she takes us like she like circles the flask. How about the magician?
Oh, that's a good one. Why didn't I just get that first? I'm fucking a magician. Okay, so it's this much whiskey with this much stuff. Okay, I can remember.
Well, I think it suits you. You
Yeah.
can use magic after all, can't you?
Well, that's what being a magician is.
I wasn't referring to the card tricks page.
It's more than just card trick. Do at the show. Well, we had another trick that we didn't get to do because the ghouls attack and they were big scary and then all those things happen. But there's other tricks.
Paige, I've grown up around people that could use what you can do.
So, other magicians? I thought me and Pierre was the only stage magicians in the city.
I'm not talking stage magicians, I'm talking shooting lightning bolts from the sky. Sort of magic, Paige.
Lightning bolts out of this. That's not really a chuck I can keep in my trunk. That's, very big and, in the sky.
Paige, I know.
I think there must be some confusion. Yeah, Electra. I'm just a magician.
Electra sighs and swirls her flask around a little bit more. I'm trying to tell you because I know, and I've been around people that cast it like you. It's very subtle, but I do recognize the signs. And let's be real, why would a random performer girl out here brave the wilderness unless she didn't have a trick up her sleeve? Because let's get real, hunters like us, we prioritize ourselves first. And I don't think you would go out here if you weren't in danger and had no way to protect yourself.
Paige's face is just kind of very neutral, and she's put the fucking thing away, and she's very, very still. And she just kind of turns and kind of looks up at the night sky, and she just kind of shrugs. She's like, I have a gun, so I'm not defenseless.
If you want to keep lying to me, that's fine. But with the oncoming of this new girl, I need to know exactly what everybody can capable of. Do you really want to take the responsibility if we all die and you didn't show what you can do? Because that is a very possible outcome.
If it was a matter of, living or dying, I would do anything I could to, not have people die. I bought the healing thing.
She just sighs. Well, if you want to stick to that, you can. But if you actually want to talk about it, I have resources that might be able to help you. That's all. And she'll pop out from where she was, and she'll begin making her way back to camp.
Paige will hesitate for a second before, as Electra is walking away. Wait.
She stops.
How can you just talk about that? About knowing someone like that? That's. You could get them killed.
I have no judgment, and I wasn't going to tell anybody else. That's why I pulled you out here in private.
But you don't know me, or if I would tell anyone, why would you risk that?
Like I said, it's a matter of survival. If I know that I can, for instance, say you guys are under attack, and you all are spread out again. If I know you can defend yourself, that's a chance that I can save somebody else. Whereas if I wasted time when you were perfectly capable of dealing with something and you couldn't, then that was a life potentially on your hand. All of us need to survive. All of us need to work together. Or else we're not hunters or people at all, we're just prey. And I've been around this since I was born. I have family that has casted magic like you have. And I'm under a curse of my own. So I know it exists, and well, you haven't exactly been the stealthiest as much as you've tried.
Paige doesn't react to that, but she just slowly starts walking towards Electra, also towards Champ. And as she gets closer, you see that there's this almost calculating look on her face as she more or less sizes Electra up. And then as she gets within elbow distance of Electra, it's kind of like there's this switch that kind of flips. And there's this big wide smile that comes across Paige's face. As she kind of puts both of her fists up like she's shadow boxing. And she gives a big smile and she's like, you don't have to worry about me. I'm big and strong and I'm super scary. I can just, do that one too. And then the gun to go bang. And you don't have to worry about me.
And
But
there's
yeah,
also the lightning bolt out of the sky that you can do. Let's not forget that.
I think that's one more of an act of God, I think. If you look at it from the paperwork standpoint, I think that's what they call it.
God doesn't exist.
I'm I am going to require a deception roll if you're sticking with act of God here.
Okay, okie doke.
It's gonna be your deception against Electra, either your insight. Let's see. Yeah, it could be insight, or particularly for you, Electra, you could roll. Be good. Hunting or lore as well. I'm trying to think of a way that because you're in a situation where you could use your intellect and memory to kind of suss out that she's being bullshit. But even if you can't even if you can't suss out that she's telling a lie, you aren't obligated to believe her.
Okay.
So even if you fail, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
one of my rolls.
Go ahead and roll both of you roll those skills straight with no purple.
Deception.
And we're going to go by higher number of successes. You can upgrade your own rolls if you want to.
Let me just
But
double check.
just let me know if you're going to upgrade it before you do.
I gotta read this. When making checks, I don't know what that means because these are symbols, and my brain is smooth.
Which one does it look like?
It looks like a wheel.
That's
That's
a
a triumph.
success. Well,
Okay.
yeah, the big one is a triumph.
Okay, thank you. Up to. Okay, turn off my fucking dark reader because it fucks everything up.
The only time you can get a triumph is if you have a yellow die involved.
Okay. These are just straight, right?
Yeah, as that no purple, and we're going by number of successes and then number of advantages. If you somehow end up tying, we'll get to that bridge when we cross it. You're not going to
Okay,
tie. What are
cool.
the odds you tie?
I have sense emotion, so I get a blue to all of my charm, coercion, and deception checks. Where'd my box go? I had it.
Sure. I will say for I will give you one black. It does not cancel out the blue. You just get a blue and a black. I will give you one black because Act of God is that's up there on lies.
Well, wouldn't you know? I can remove up to 2 black.
All right, fair enough.
Oh wait, no, I can't read. Ah! Ow. Well, actually, no, I can't. I misread. That's discipline, not deception. My bad.
Ah, gotcha.
Okay. One success, 4 advantages. She's really cute.
The pajamas are doing a lot of work.
The pajamas are doing a lot of work. So was her shadow boxing.
Yes, Annie? I'll get it.
Where is?
Did Piper have to roll, or just my roll?
No, I'm rolling. I was just talking with somebody.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Let's see. So I'm gonna roll my hunting.
And you're gonna leave early in the morning then? Remember I have the inspection tomorrow?
Give me a minute, Annie. Where? I'm trying to. There we go. No purple.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to upgrade.
I'll say,
Let's
bullshit.
go.
You waited till I was done rolling.
Yeah, I fucking did.
Ooh. So
Can I?
can you
Can I, Joe?
upgrade?
No. The vibe here that she picks up on with Paige. So I'll admit defeat.
Okay.
Of Paige, where she's like, yeah, don't worry about me. I'm big and scary, and I have a gun. And look at this, pew pew. You know. He's very obviously turned back into performer mode. However, there's that like little thing of, other than the fucking act of God bullshit. There's act of, yeah, she's giving off this like, it's essentially she's putting a lot of fluff on the words to try and distract you from the real meaning. But the real meaning is, you don't have to protect me.
Okay.
But there's a lot of fluff on top of it. There's this piece of bread that she's just fucking smothering in marshmallow fluff. She's hoping you don't notice the bread. But the bread is her saying, yeah, the bread is her saying, you don't have to protect me.
Okay. So did you want to do something?
No, I just want to get that like that there.
Oh,
is
yeah.
the bit.
Yeah, and I will say that Electra, what is your presence score and your intellect score?
What is my intellect is 3, my presence is 4.
Okay, so you are both smart enough and like conscientious enough in a social sense to you don't even have to roll for this. You're kind of reading between the lines and getting the vibe of like, she's really dodgy. She is really evasive on this, but you pick up the meaning of like, I don't always need protecting. I like it is exactly as Amy described. Like there's a lot of fluff there, but the ultimate the message that she wants you to come away with is, I am capable of taking care of myself, if that answers your question.
Because, you know, she's big, scary, and she can punch, and she has a gun. That's obviously why. Right? Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever seen you actually fire that gun.
I'm just going to shoot it now. It's, you know, late, and
You've had so many opportunities. We've fought tree things, and then you fought those hounds.
I was busy, you know,
It's
hiding.
actually a gun.
I am a civilian.
A civilian who should learn to shoot things if you're out here in the wild.
I know how to shoot. You know, Heidi taught me how to shoot a gun. I'm worried about Pete, and no one taught him how to shoot a gun.
I'm convinced.
What do you want me to do? Shoot the gun now?
Sure.
Wake everybody up? Get all the monsters to come and say hi?
I'll sleep ya.
Tell the monsters sleeping.
Tomorrow I am going to put up a shooting range for you to see how you do.
What?
And you can, if you can't shoot it down, then at least use your act of God.
What?
And when you're free to talk about that, I would like you to look at something from a magical point of view.
Okay, hold on.
Good night, Paige.
Just because I said I could doesn't mean I'm good at it.
Sir.
Fucking speed walking. Her legs do not fucking match up, man. Her legs are so fucking short. You're easily able to outpace her, but she's like, come back here.
Paige is like 1 or 2 strides behind Electra, but to Paige it's like 7 or 8 strides.
To her, she's so fucking far. She's just out of fucking reach. Fucking get over here. Once I catch you.
It's like those dreams when you're running from the evil monster, but you're the evil monster this time.
They're getting too far away, man. Then with their fucking long ass legs.
Okay.
Eventually, she gives up.
That's my talk. Good talk.
She's just gonna fucking give up. She's like, God. She curses in French. She just swapped over to French, and she's just muttering under her breath. It's all swears. It's all cursing, and she's fucking like moodily, just like not stomping, but like it's like a pout, and she just fucking like steps very angrily back to the tent.
You stomp up to the tent, and Pierre is inside, and you can see he is reading a book. You know that, like he's probably reread the same storybook 100 times over. It is an old fairy tale collection, and he's about like a quarter or a third of the way through it. And like when you walk up, and he's laying on his back with the book above his face, held above him. He looks up and sees you, and then rolls over and just goes, "What's this gotten under your skin? What are you saying?" Shh, because he hears you swearing a little bit. He's like, "Stop."
Oh. She just turned to him. She's speaking in French now because she was swearing in French. She might as well just fucking continue it. She's like, what? I'm not gonna just stop.
Then what is the problem? What happened?
Oh,
I thought you were talking to a hunter. Everything is not. Is everything okay?
Oh, no, everything's fine. Everything's fine. It's great. You know, she just brought up the magic thing.
You see the color drain from his face, and he drops the book and like sits back on his butt, and he just shakes his head slightly and just goes, like, you don't mean like one of your shows, do you?
You know, I tried to make it seem like that, but no, apparently she means magic. Because she knows about that, apparently. There's more people. Apparently, she knows. And she's on to me. And so That's a thing. That's a great thing. That's a great fucking thing, Pierre. That's just amazing, and it's great. And I, why are we here? Why are we here? Why the fuck are we here?
He sits up and, like, kind of in one motion, sitting up, crossing his legs, and putting one hand on his knee and the other hand over his face, rubs his eyes, and just shakes his head. This is a normal conversation, and it's all in French.
Well, you forget that we've
Oh, I
already
didn't forget it.
claimed which
Mhm.
people know what languages.
No, that's totally fine.
Yeah, because Paige doesn't know that, but Amy does.
Okay, just double
Yep.
checking that.
Yeah, but I imagine because they are speaking in French, they are assuming, yeah, nobody speaks French here.
Who the fuck speaks French? That's not from their neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly. And so Pierre, like, rubbing his brow line, is just like, well, now what do we do? I mean, did she say she was going to turn you in?
No, I don't think so. She wants me to look at something or talk about it. I don't know, but apparently I have a shooting thing tomorrow because I have a gun. And
Yes,
I
you
don't
do,
get it.
and you.
I don't
you
know. I don't think
maybe
she's gonna turn. So there's that going for us.
maybe it'll all just blow over in the morning.
Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be just be everything's gonna blow over in the morning. She'll just forget. Because that's a thing that happens.
He will. You can't really, like, fully stand up in the tent because it is. Well, Paige probably could,
I was
but
gonna
he
say, I
can't.
think Paige.
Yeah, so he awkwardly Pierre will awkwardly take a knee and kind of scoot closer to you, Paige, and he will, like, he can't quite stand up normally, so he'll stand up but hunch way over, and he'll just put both arms around you and hug you in this awkward leaning down way. And it's in this moment that, like, you are reminded of how much bigger he is than you, and he is not like, he's not the biggest, broadest, tallest man who's ever lived, but in moments like this, he does seem like a bear of a person.
He ate his
And
Wheaties.
he do eat his Wheaties, and he carries, like, a whole ass 50-pound bags of flour over his shoulder. Like,
It's nothing.
the man's he's got working muscle.
Mm.
Like, he bends down and he hugs you, and he pats you on the back of the, like, of the shoulder area, and he just goes, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm not gonna let any of the hunters take you, no matter how much they want to. I don't know why we're out here, but I don't care so long as we make it back. And
What
we're gonna make it
happens?
back.
I don't know why we're out here. It's because of me, because I want to go and play hero. What happens if we get back and they find out? What happens to everyone?
Then we'll figure something out. We always have. And it's worked out good so far.
I don't think pickpocketing the local gang is gonna work this time, but I'll keep it in mind.
Well, keep it in mind. And I we're out here because you wanted to play the hero, but also because I kind of want you to play the hero too, because then I get to help protect you, and that's, I don't know, that's fun. It sort of means a lot to me. So you get to be your hero self, and I'll be right there with you. And he reaches into his pack and pulls out his own gun, and he doesn't like brandish it, but he holds it like you would hold a book. He holds it, just goes, and now we match, so we can be, I don't know, a dynamic shoot 'em up duo, I guess.
She was like starting to cheer up a little bit, like starting to calm down from her like panic and catastrophizing. And Fo leaned into the hug, and he pulls out the gun, and she just fucking looks at him. Who let you get a gun? Who sold you a gun?
Well, I can just buy one. They sell them. I saved up a little bit, and I was saving it for something else, but I figured we should probably have it when we were going out into the woods.
Know how to
So,
shoot it? Don't shoot yourself.
well, your boyfriend gave you a gun, and you don't know how to shoot.
He taught me how to shoot. There's a difference there. I know how it works. I'm not good at it, but I know how it works. I know how to point and shoot and reload it.
Do you even know what this part is called? And he points to like a middle section of the gun that is below the trigger and above the hammer, or above the trigger and below the hammer.
Above the trigger and below hammer.
Yeah, like where, like
about the hand
it is.
part?
No, not that. This part where the metal and the wood. It doesn't matter. Just I'm just as good at shooting as you are. You see that he had to kind of find the word, because he was like kind of struggling for a second to figure out how to describe the act of wielding a gun.
She's just like, I never said I'm good at it. I know I'm not good at it, but I know how to not shoot myself, Pierre.
Yeah, and I do too. You make sure that this end is pointed away from you, and he points. Now he is holding it and brandishing it and pointing it away and down towards the ground.
Fucking both hands on his fucking wrist, point it down.
I was gonna point it down. It was already pointed down.
Just put the gun. Okay, that's it. If I'm getting dragged to this weird shooting lesson, I don't know what it is. So are you. You're gonna learn how to actually, shoot it.
Okay, first off, I know how to shoot it well. And second, I will, of course, go with you to your shooting lesson. It'll be good for me to learn more.
You know what? You can take my place. You can go and talk to Electra.
No, you will not leave me there. You will be a good sister, and I will be there with you.
Why do I have to be a good sister? Why can't you just be a good brother and take my place and talk to the lady who knows something?
He puts the gun back in his pack, and he'll close his pack and cinch it closed. And it's kind of like a drawstring bag. But he looks back at you and then puts his hands on his hips, and he has to kind of awkwardly sit down on the backs of his heels. But he sits down and he just looks like, oh, what am I going to do with you? You called lightning down from the sky. Of course somebody found out. But
it was cloudy.
Not that cloudy.
Who makes the rules?
What? The weather?
Show me the book of weather. I don't do it. No, I'm not gonna read the book of weather. Why would I do that? Let's just. And she's gonna just fucking drag her fucking sleeping bag and just fucking bring it over to fucking Pierre's sleeping bag. Just fucking get in. She's gonna fucking bundle up, so she's like all cocooned. You just see her face peeking out, and she kind of like inchworms her way against him. She's like, this is for tomorrow, Paige and Pierre. Okay, we're gonna figure it out tomorrow, and we're gonna go to sleep and not think about this. And who knows? Maybe she forgets.
Pierre like blinks, and there's a moment where he considers bringing up the fact that he thought he suggested, hey, maybe they'll just all forget tomorrow morning. But he decides better he thinks better of it and just puts his hand down, and he'll go over to the little oil lamp and turn it off, and then snap shut his book. He doesn't use a bookmark. He actually remembers exactly where he is every time he starts that story over again, or starts that book over again. And he'll set the book under his pillow and lie down on his back. Good night, Paige.
She's already halfway wiggling her fucking way into his side.
He reaches over and he gives you one really, really like firm pat on the top of the sleeping bag head.
That is exactly what she looks like, by the way. That gift is perfect. She's gonna just mutter, just very quiet, just like, good night, good night. And she's just gonna try and sleep.
Okay.
What a conversation to overhear
Is-
for Willow.
Willow just very pointedly focusing on what she is doing and not reacting to the very frustrated French that is covering the camp.
I imagine it's not that loud.
it's not it's like stage whisper shouting.
Yeah, it's stage whisper. I think imagine that like if you're within like 10 feet of the tent, you can kind of hear it.
I totally imagine that like
Mhm.
with the way that y'all could have set up camp, it's pretty easy to hear like somebody is having a whisper argument, and if they wanted to sneak up close and listen in, they'd be like, "What the fuck language is that?"
What the fuck is that?
Willow just like very subtly like, at least they have somebody physical to argue with. I just have you two fuckers. I
There
look
is
real sane.
Oh man. Are you actually goading yourselves?
Yeah, she would probably mutter something along those lines, like as the siblings are settling down. Not so much in like a. It's kind of the offhanded, jokey comment rather than the antagonistic comment, though.
Okay. So like there's a little bit of like a stir in the back of your mind that you can recognize as winter. As
There's some kind of
winter
racket going on in the background.
oh but winter just in this kind of soft like shuffling in your mind, as you could probably imagine somebody sitting in a chair turning the chair away just out of spite, or kind of adjusting themselves as they are asleep. And this is typically how winter gets when you are in the thick of the woods. And summer, meanwhile, like you could hear summer prancing up and around like in a 10-foot like perimeter around you is like a happily skipping deer. And then you make that comment and then she stops and you just feel the eyes on you in this sort of sneer, like a sneer expression, and she doesn't really she doesn't say anything back, but you get this sense of like playful warmth, the kind of like playful warmth that you would imagine uh comes from somebody saying, you know, you love me, or you can't get rid of me, so you have to deal with me.
Just shakes her head. finishes rolling up all of the little bits and bobs and cleans instrumentation that she has. She's not gonna poke the hornet's nest that is the next tent over. Not tonight. She's just gonna
Hmm.
mind her own fucking business tonight.
Okay. Before we close out this night and get to a random table roll, was there anything else anyone wanted to do?
Was there anything particularly interesting to share from the text RP?
Yes, also that.
I don't know, Iris. Do you think you learned anything particularly interesting about Angharad?
He likes the Bible.
She does like the Bible.
Uh,
I'm gonna need some context for that one.
she's a religious person. Like that's
Like
straightforward.
old school religion or like new school religion in
Give
weird
me
setting?
that old time religion. It'd be old school religion, judging by what you're phrasing it.
Mm-hmm. Angharad's Catholic.
Oh my fucking god.
Hell yeah.
And Herod has a friend that means a lot to her.
Do we want to do a reread like you did with us in fucking Blood and Neon?
Oh
Do you
God, no.
want to? No? Oh, is it too long?
It's not that it's too long. It's just I feel very self-conscious on that one, personally. But
Oh no.
if you would like to, Kira, we can.
If you
Go ahead.
if you're self-conscious, that's okay. You
No,
don't
we-
have to if you're self-conscious. And
I-
it is kind of a long one too, so I don't know how long it would take, and I don't want to prevail upon people's time too much.
I mean, they kind of just got to know each other a little bit. Millie asked a lot of questions that Herod kind of answered, but also didn't. Do you have a word to describe that?
I think Angharad gave very clear answers that
She's being a fae.
Yeah.
It's answering in riddles.
Maddie just basically kept saying, "Hey, you're my buddy. We're gonna be buddies.
and
I got your back."
Angharad is like, yes, we'll be buddies. However, don't ever take me into a city.
Yeah.
And also,
yeah.
let me quote a passage from the Bible at you.
There was one Bible passage, and also she read on a Grecian memory.
And it sounded really, really pretty.
She was really into Ode on a Grecian urn, more into the Bible, more than she was into the Bible, actually. Well,
Mhm.
Maddie also noticed something, which is probably you're kind of burying a lead here. Toward the very tail end of the conversation, Maddie did notice that something was up with Angharad's hands.
Did I?
I
Huh?
put it in there.
Dude, I know what she's talking about.
I have to reread. Fuck.
Oh no.
What
Uh,
does she notice?
Angharad has two divots on
oh
her.
right.
Yeah. So each hand has a single divot on the back of it.
Like scar or like dimple?
The word used was divot.
It is a noticeable feature on the hands.
Maddie didn't get a super good look at it, but there's
Yeah.
something up with her hands.
Yeah, and I remember I wanted to ask about that too. Fuck.
You snooze, you lose.
Well, yeah. They just kind of chatted.
Yeah, I
Became
think that's about the
friends.
size of it.
Yeah.
Is no super major revelation, I think. At least none from Angharad.
I don't think there were really any from Manny either.
Okay.
Okay. Then with that, Anghared, you are going to be on watch for the evening.
Yeah, for the whole night.
So you get to roll me 1d. Let's see. Do I want to use a big table for this?
I would love a big table.
Big
And
table.
do
Big table.
1d 200.
Oh boy.
Whoa.
Is it /R?
Yes.
Yes.
1d 200. 33, boss.
33.
Sorry,
Such a good
3.
number.
I'm so mad that they didn't try to generate a 200-sided dice.
They should have.
An orb.
I've seen a 200-sided die. It is just a fucking orb. It's like a golf ball, but the divots are numbers.
You need a fucking protractor and a compass to find out which one's on top.
No,
It's
you
the one
just
that's
do
in
the
dead
squeeze
center.
test.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't like that noise.
that's a weird one.
Is it a
Why?
weird one or a weird one for Aang in particular?
It's a weird one in general, not for Aang in particular.
Dude, how is there a weird one? The game is called Weird. You know, shit's about to get weird, and the DM's like, that's a weird one.
Aw, that's okay. That's cute. It turned into a cute one. So, Angharad, you are sitting there in the night. Actually, let's make this really night.
Oh, I don't like that.
Spooky.
Dark.
So, you are there watching over the camp, and as you are sitting there monitoring, go ahead and give me a vigilance roll, or
Sure.
I guess vigilance or perception. I think perception is actively looking.
Yes, and perception is the rather vigilance is the passive one, and perception is the
Yes.
active.
Yeah.
So I'll use perception. What's the difficulty?
We're gonna throw it to. This would be 1 purple.
All right. No, I said downgrade difficulty. Why'd you make it 3?
You
What?
can, if you have a mouse, you can use left and right mouse button.
Oh, I think that's what's going on there. Okay. Thank you.
There you go. There you go. That's all you needed. So, as you are sitting, everyone's tent kind of circling around the remnants of the campfire, where would you want Angharad to kind of be for her watch? Would she sit in the camp and just head on a swivel, or would she like do laps around it and patrol?
No, she's doing after she's done talking with Maddie. She's at the very edges of the camp, pretty much away from the fire, and she'll just like stand here for like 20 minutes and then go stand here for 20 minutes and then over here, just making rounds, but it's far enough away that it almost doesn't look like that's part of her camp at all.
Okay. So as you are meandering, let me do that. I need to take a picture of this because I don't have it on a PDF. So as you are kind of meandering around, keeping your eyes peeled. The dangers of the night in the forest are no stranger to you, and having been here for so long, it does not make you afraid. It does not make you nervous to be here at night in the thick of the woods, even outside of a territory that is familiar to you, or um, that a territory you know is relatively safe. Uh, this area is it's okay. You're not expecting anything incredibly dangerous. Although, despite that, you do feel something, or rather, sense it. And it's very strange because at first you think you hear a noise behind you, and so you whip around to see what it was. And in the kind of post processing of recognizing, like, wait, did I actually hear something? You're starting to realize, like, you didn't hear a noise. There was just almost like an eerie sense of something being near or passing nearby. But even that doesn't do enough justice to this, like, this strange vibe of an unseen force maneuvering around. Um, and you don't feel like you're in danger. This almost feels like um, it almost feels like a wild animal is walking nearby, like a deer, and you would be it would have snuck up on you, which is kind of unusual. So you're kind of standing on end for a second. But you kind of calm down and you look around, and there's still nothing here, but you feel that bump almost, that sort of presence, that undulation in the energy around you. And this time, uh, can you make me a weird roll
Oh, cool.
at 1 purple?
All right. I don't have any ranks in it, so let's see how it goes. Okay.
Perfect. So you are not unfamiliar with the energy that is at play here in the woods, and you are not in the deepest, darkest heart of the woods yet. But even still, you are at least underneath, or you are at least in the canopy. You are in the thick of it, just not the darkest part of it. And you're subsumed by this forest's magic. And at night, you can look in any direction, and it's all trees and darkness. And you can look up, and there's sky, and that's the only different thing from around you. It almost really seems like you're underwater in a sense, in a different world. And as you are kind of looking around trying to find where that disturbance came from, you feel this like a when you get a muscle spasm and it feels like movement underneath your skin,
Mm-hmm.
that like kind of wriggle. You get
Yeah.
that sensation, and you turn around again, and you notice that in the fire, in the pits of the embers that have gone out and aren't running cold yet, but are red, smoldering, and like still collecting all that heat, you notice something shift and move, as if it had not, almost as if something had just been plopped right inside of the fire. Because you definitely didn't see anything like walk around. You would have seen something walking around, at least you think so. But there's something inside of the pit of the flame.
And Herod will softly approach the flame, walking as she does, very lightly on her feet, despite the heavy armor. Um, and she'll sort of look at the fire, tilt her head at it.
You walk
Those,
up. Go ahead.
Dost thou meanest them harm?
When you walk up and tilt your head and query the bush, or not the bush, the ashes and smoldering remains, you see a shuffle inside of it, something like an animal underneath a blanket, and some of the ashes part, and you see the fire spark up again. And it's not alive, it's not a roaring flame, it's just sputtering in and out. But inside of the ashes of the campfire, tucked in there like a little blanket, you see uh, two little creatures. And I'll post the picture here. Oh wait, I have a fucking creatures chat for this. Here we go.
Give us the creatures.
Let's see the little guys.
I gotta make them into a token.
Oh,
Inside
Babies.
Oh my gosh!
inside of the ashes, you see the fire sputter up a little bit, and what pokes its head up can only be described as a cat. However, the top of its head and its eyes glow with a fire, a literal fire. Its eyes are like an orange red, matching the color of the embers. And from beside it, you can see that there's one of them that is curled up inside of this ember pit. And inside of, like tucked in the middle of it, there is another smaller one that pokes its head up. And they both look at you with relative disdain, just like, why did you wake us up? But they don't say anything. They don't meow. They don't make noise. They just look at you like confused.
Would I have to
First
roll
off,
hunting to know these guys? Or sorry.
you don't have to roll hunting. You've never seen these creatures before.
Oh man,
Never
that's
heard of them.
interesting. I think Angharad will gently set the scythe down and kneel in front of them. Just sort of like a squat kneel until she seems to be at a level playing field with them, almost the way that you would talk to a person. She's not necessarily talking to these animals like they're animals. And she doesn't lean forward, doesn't intrude on their space. Shall we call a truce then?
And you have seen felines before.
Mhm.
You just haven't seen felines like these. And these strange fire cats seem to have similar cat-like mannerisms to the cats that you know from this world. And they both look at you. The little one is kind of tucked behind the big one, the mother, and the mother looks at you and regards you. And there's a slow, like a very slow blinking, what you assume is blinking, as the red glow in its eyes winks out and then comes back, and then winks out and then slowly comes back. And you hear just underneath the noise of the night, of the bugs and chirping and chittering things in the distance, there is a very, very slow rumble of what you can assume is a purr, as it is just like purring and stirring the embers to the fire to make itself warm again.
Harriet nods, and she takes some of the meat that Maddie offered her earlier, and she leaves it sort of on the very edge of the where the cats can get to it if they want it. But doesn't transgress the boundaries of their home here. It's just leaving an offering. And she makes a small purring sound herself in response.
Hmm.
Do no harm to them, and I shall do no harm. So it is.
You can see that as you say that, and it takes the meat, the little one like jumps up and grabs at it, and as soon as it bites down, you hear the sizzle pop of its incredibly hot mouth bite down into the flesh. You can imagine that like trying to touch or be tender towards these things with bare skin would probably hurt a lot. But it's the little one chomps down on the little bits of food that you had given them, and the big one continues to slow blink at you. And then as you say, do no harm and no harm will come to you, basically offering it a peaceable pact. You can get the sense that the creature does not necessarily speak the language of men, but it does understand the meaning and the intent behind the sort of contractual offer you have put forward. And it almost knowingly gives you one firm nod and then tilts its head back around and curls up into a little nest of the ashes and the embers and goes back to sleep while the little one continues to make seared mincemeat bites out of the piece you gave it.
Angharad, satisfied that the deal has been settled, will slowly, step away, give them their space. She doesn't move too fast to spook them or anything, but she picks up her scythe again and she resumes her watch.
Okay. The rest of the watch is largely uneventful, though there is a stirring inside of the pit of your stomach, Angharad, that you can feel the woods out there, and you know there are things in the dark that are just waiting for you to not pay attention, that aren't so friendly and aren't as willing to coalesce to a amenable contract. But tonight they are not here. And for tonight, you can rest easy. And before too long, the morning comes.
When the morning comes, Angharad will stop to make sure everyone's awake. But also, in the process of doing this, she will warn them not to spook the cats. And she changes into her morning attire. The wind tunnel?
Yeah.
Changes into her morning attire, which she has a very gauzy, very fine black veil that she wears. And it's covered in like these feather motifs. And it looks very, very old and very delicate to be wearing it in the middle of the forest. But she does. And she's actually like pinned it to her hair in a very meticulous kind of old fashioned way where it looks very much like you would see in like one of those illustrated ads from the middle 1800s, you know? And in this getup, she goes from tent to tent and tells them good morning and also not to mess with the cats that are in the fire.
You guys all awake bright and early, peacefully awoken by Angharad with the news of cats in the fire.
Paige, who is still in her fucking sleeping bag. Looks like the tiniest little bump next to Pierre. You'd almost think it was a pillow and Paige wasn't there. But you say that, no disturbance. You mention cats, and she just fucking shoots up.
You can't really see Angharad's facial expression. The veil is very. It does kind of mask her features a little bit, but you can hear a soft laugh. Mind thy passions. These cats are not to be held.
What? But it's cat. You're supposed to hold them and pet them and give them treats and
Thy palms would sizzle.
What?
They are of fire made.
She
They are fire
turns.
cats.
Fire cats.
Is this one of the woodland things, like a hunter would see? One of those weird animals?
I have never before seen them.
Can't even pet cats here. What kind of place is this?
A dangerous one for those
This
such as thee.
stupid. She's like fucking grumbling as she fucking leaves her cocoon, starts fucking throwing on clothing. She's fucking can't even pet the cats here. You hear this? Are we supposed to do anything out here?
Pierre will stumble out wearing just his simple pajamas, which is just really like a cotton shirt and cotton trousers with a drawstring around the waist. And he will stumble out to go and look at the fire. And he'll take a knee and kind of slide into place and see the two cats, which they're about the size of like about average house cat size, except the mother is much larger, like slightly below Maine Coon big, and the like
Damn.
Pierre like looks and is just his jaw drops and he is like, they really are fire cats. And just sitting the normal distance you would from a campfire, that level of heat is just radiating off of these sleeping cats.
A page appears. Her head appears just above Pierre's shoulder, kind of crouched down right behind him, using him as a rest as she leans. She's using him as a safety guard. She's like, they're so cute. What do you mean we can't pet them?
Hey, this is so hot. The air around them is very warm.
It's
He dabs sweat from the top of his forehead.
You manage to get to Willow's tent, and she like rolls over and looks over at Ingara. You see her kind of like furrow her brow and blink, and
Like,
then
who the fuck?
what the fuck?
picks up her normal glasses and puts them on, and then blinks again. Oh, are we mourning somebody?
There are many things in the. But today the Sangharat mourns not. However, you should mind there are fire cats about.
She kind of like lifts her head up and like looks like a little sliver of what she can see of the camp beyond, and then puts her head back down. Why are you wearing the mourning veil then?
Is it a mourning veil?
No, the only time I've ever seen it. Usually in weeping women following whoever's going to the graveyard.
It has been many a year since the Sangharat has wept. Thus, Can this really be called a morning veil?
You say that, you can see the gears are trying to turn, but it is too early in the morning.
Too fucking early for your riddles.
You see like Willow as you are like thinking, you see from the corner of your eye like a shimmer of the light, and the summer has just like materialized as she normally does, or as she is wont to do, rather. And she just daintily tiptoes over some of your things and across the tent and goes up to Aang. And Aang, you can't see any of this, but she bends underneath Aang's chin and ducks around and holds her hand against your like the side of Angharad's face and just goes, "I like this one. She's so woodsy, like me. Don't hurt yourself trying to think, dear."
Willow goes from you see the hamster wheel spinning to looking very distracted to annoyed, and she rolls over.
For thee I shall call if the French one wounds herself.
If Paige manages to wound herself, then she's going to take care of it on her own. Unfortunately, I'm not a healer.
There's just a simple from Angharad. And she will quietly depart.
I assumed, based off of your aesthetic, you were a healer. I see it. I was presumptuous.
Precisely that. That's precisely the energy of it.
I have my internal biases I need to contend with.
Am I racist? Angharad asked.
You, Angharad, as you are leaving, Summer waves to your back to no one's attention but Willow's, in the back of Willow's mind. And then Willow, you feel like eyes turn onto you as Summer just impatiently looking at you, not getting up yet.
You are going to annoy me all morning, aren't you?
I'm feeling particularly lively today. I'd like to get up and go now, please.
Not so lively that you're just going to take control again, alright?
There's almost a look of embarrassment, like someone who stole from the cookie jar and did not get away with it. Well, no, not if you hurry up. And she smiles at you with a very guilty smile. And it's strange to look into your own face and see what your guilt could look like. But not entirely something you're not used to.
Just rolls back over, kind of shakes a finger in Summer's direction, but doesn't say anything. As she starts to slowly get herself together and get up and start moving, though very much with the intention of, I'm going to find whatever is caffeinated as soon as I'm out of the tent. And that is priority number one.
I want priority number one to be seeing these strange new creatures. I want to see a flame cat.
Well, when you have hands that can do whatever you want and can help me get things done in the morning, then you get to choose the priorities.
She turns around and goes like prone onto her stomach and puts her hands on her, or puts her chin on her hands. And it's sort of like a pouting gesture. Just goes, "Oh, fine. I guess I have to help you. I can advise you on what you shouldn't wear today." She examines her nails.
There is just a brow arch and a little like quirk of the head.
Well, it's going to be excessively cold. A bit dry, but damp if you go to the south.
And this is true even if we go to what were the two people that day she was talking about? Dee Dee or the Queen? I don't suppose you know which direction those two would be in.
Well, I could tell you I have an idea, but never met them myself. I've wanted to meet the Queen for a while. I don't know Dee Dee. She sounds fun.
And there we go. That is when I remember that you are not human.
She kicks her feet back and forth like a teenager, just left and right and left and right. And it gives you again like another very kind of guilty smile, but this one's more self satisfied.
So the thicker jackets it will be then. And probably better gloves. Thank you, Summer.
You're welcome. And she, like, as you get up and get ready, you turn to look back and where she was, and she is just evaporated into thin air. Her presence is still nearby. She is just being more patient now.
Willow will get herself presentable and all of her shit tucked away where it's supposed to be tucked away before she emerges. And just will very calmly start heading towards wherever she can start like pouring water to make some like hot tea or some shit. And as she passes by the siblings, we'll say good morning in French.
Pierre just
Yeah.
reflexively says the same thing.
Yeah, reflexively, good morning in French.
And then there is a sudden stop, and then Pierre looks at Paige.
Paige is focused
And
on the fire cats.
he blinks and then turns around and he's like looking to see who said good morning. Looks over to Willow and like, are you trying to masquerade that you said that at all?
No, she's like good morning in French. And when he looks in her direction, she is like got like a pot and some water, and looks up at him, and will repeat herself.
Pierre, like, you can slowly see the gears turning in his head as he's like, she speaks French? That's really interesting. Wait, she speaks French? Have we spoken French around her? She hasn't spoken French to us, but how much French does she know? And he's just slowly turning, and you can see the brow furrowing tighter and tighter and tighter as he gets more and more concentrated.
The spiral.
Paige is focused on these cats. She has not realized a goddamn thing.
The cats are like, you can tell that they're there by the sound of like the soft purring and sleeping noises as they sleep,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of difficult to see more than just like the
shape.
vague shape because they are bundled up inside of the ashes. Both of them just could not be more asleep.
So that's
Hey,
why.
Maddie, give me a hand with this, will ya?
What'd you say, Piper?
I was saying, hey, Maddie, give me a hand with this, will ya? She's over in the corner setting up the promised shooting range.
Thought that was
Ah,
in tomorrow
shit.
evening.
Yeah, we have stuff to talk about tomorrow
evening.
morning.
Got
I
some
thought
to
it
do.
was in the day already. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Oh, it is the next day. It's the next morning. However, we got to figure out what we're gonna
Yes.
do plot wise first.
Yeah.
So maybe save it for like next campfire, next downtime.
Next camp, there will be shoot.
Mhm.
Okay.
But yes, you you see oh gosh, I can't even remember what I was gonna say. Disregard.
And Herod takes turns waking everybody up. She does take a bit of extra time waking Maddie up.
That's
She
kind of
spends.
needed, to be honest. You try to wake her up, and she's like, just 10 more minutes, and rolls over. Pulling, like, I imagine she has, like, not a full-on blanket, but, like, kind of she doesn't have a tent. She just kind of has, like, a sleeping bag kind of made of furs and shit that she kind of throws together. And she just pulls, like, the blanket that she has and rolls over and covers her head and continues snoring.
Madigan, dear heart, we have companions, new friends. Thou mayest yet enjoy their company.
We're gonna hang out later. Just I don't sleep.
By then they may depart, and you will be left with simply stories of them.
It's just 10 more minutes.
Willow over by the kettle just like turns away from Pierre, watches Anger bent over Maddie, walks over with a cup of water, and hands it to Anger. I think this might actually be a little bit more efficient.
And Herod looks at the water, very confused. I have no thirst to speak.
Not for your thirst. And she will just take a step away so that she is a full arm's length away and full face of water.
Maddie, like, jumps 10 feet in the air.
Like a cat that has to take a bath. Maddie, you rocket upright. You are not even soaked. You're not soaked to the bone, but for a second there, you could have sworn that you were just like thrown into the ocean. You were drowning.
Just
She,
waits
like,
for
she-
Maddie to hit her feet, nods, goes back to what the fuck she was doing.
So Maddie got splashed. She jumps up, like, quickly swerving her head around, like, sees the. Does Willow have the cup in her hands?
Yes.
Shameless. Absolutely shameless.
What was that for? I was just sleeping comfortably.
Eckhart has been trying to wake you up for the past 5-10 minutes at least.
We're
She's
not in a
asked
hurry.
nicely several. Excuse me. Not in a hurry. I thought you knew that there was potentially a girl's life on the line.
Okay, yeah, but like the campfire's not out. All the stuff's not
Because
packed.
there are fire cats in there, and I think Paige would kill us if we tried to splash water on them.
Okay, but like your guys' tents aren't packed. I could have slept way longer.
The Sangharat has no.
He
And
does.
Willow has walked away, filled the cup up with another dose of water, is watching Maddie as she is arguing. Cup cross between this could be a like offering of peace, or this could be another face full of water.
You may drink, or you may get wet. Your choice.
And Herod will smile behind the veil, which isn't really visible. Go, have breakfast, tend to our new companions. Miss Herod will handle the packing.
Maddie glares at Willow but takes the cup.
There we go. Goes back to trying to make some tea.
The instant she turns back, she throws the water at Willow. I don't even need a chaos roll that one.
See, Willow gets splashed, and she just like there's a little like pause, and you see her take her hair down and kind of shake it out. And she's got long ass hair when it's not up in a bun, and then she just ties it up and continues about her morning.
Maddie,
Okay.
not. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go on.
Just Maddie is like, yeah, I want the reaction. She just sticks her tongue out at Willow's back.
I have 4 siblings. This is hardly anything to deal with. Have to do much better.
I'll remember that then.
Not before you get another face full of water to wake you up, I believe.
Pierre, getting increasingly tense from this exchange, is going to get up and start packing up his and Paige's tent.
And Herod departs to go wake Electra up. And after doing so, she will also help with packing.
Do you think we can stoke the fire while the cats are still in the embers?
You try to stoke the fires. If you do,
No.
What were
this
you
about?
saying, Joe?
I was gonna say if you try to stoke the fires, it'll be like a 50-50 shot whether the cats get up and immediately leave forever, or if they just like ignore it and roll over.
So, what was this about fire cats? Kind of steps over towards the fire. She sees them and gets on the floor, belly on the floor, and gets really close to look.
You like when you see them, you see that both of these cats are curled in cinnamon roll mode.
Aw.
And
Aw.
when you get close to them, like you lay on your belly and get close, it is the heat of a fire coming off of these animals. So you get close to them and you feel immediately like the moisture leave the surface of your eyeballs, where you're just like, when you blink, it feels like a cold shower. And you're just like, it's so warm. Your face is immediately going to start sweating. But they're so cute that
They
you're
are
not
cute.
deterred. You're just uncomfortably close to fire.
Yes.
Say goodbye to session planning. We're all distracted.
So if we hang a kettle over them,
It will
It-
boil.
okay, that's what I'm
Hey.
getting at.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they are
Hey.
campfire heat in cat shape.
Ooh, Maddie will pull out a ration. Give it to the little ones.
They're both passed out.
You
They
put a little
sleeping.
ration. You throw a ration out to them. Are you doing that?
So what she does is she pulls it out and like puts it on the floor, but uses just one finger and like poke it into the fire kind of thing to get it close. Probably singeing her hand a bit, but
Worth.
just yeah, totally worth. Duh.
Worth.
So you poke this one ration into the fire pit. It rolls down, and you think it hits like a flump of ashes, but it hits the back of the bigger cat, which causes the big cat's head to like shoot upright. And then it looks down and sees the ration and like leans its head over to smell it. And you do that. You know that thing where cats sniff it for a good 30 seconds, and then they decide they don't care.
Oh.
That.
Oh.
It sniffs it a bunch, and then like pulls its head back, and you can see it like what at first you don't know what happens, but like you see this orange gout of flame kind of shoot across from where its mouth is over its nose and like around its mouth. That's its tongue. This little flame tongue kind of like shoots across its face as it licks some part of its nose, and then does a big yawn, and you can see its fangs are like bright red, like heated metal red. It yawns and closes its mouth, and then just kind of sleepily looks about.
Willow currently
pretty.
fucking hanging a kettle over the top of them.
Paige vibrating with happiness.
The urge
I was
to
re-
touch. The urge
I,
to touch.
I was very much hoping that you would put the kettle, like, place it on the cats, kind of like stacking a cat game.
If it was something small, she might have,
Mhm.
but if we're talking about boiling enough like water for everybody to have some tea if they want it, like
Mhm.
that's a bit too much to put on cats.
Yeah, true.
But a potato, like wrapped in tinfoil, might work.
True.
Yeah, if we want to play a stacking game to heat breakfast.
Yeah, let's do it. Can we have breakfast?
But you have, yeah, like you put the tea kettle on like a little standee above the cats so that it's not just pressing weight onto the cats. And when you do that and take your hand, like leave, the cat will like lean up and do the sniff to that thing, and then decide it doesn't care.
Well, I just rolled a nat 1 on my chaos roll.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
Also, I just realized I've been muted for like a little bit.
Oh,
Oh no!
Yeah. Oh well.
no. But
While
Unless
we
you're-
are
Okay.
sitting around, should we get to business discussing our next avenue?
sorry, can you say it again?
She accents her words. What are we going to do from here?
Yes, we were going to decide if we were going to see Didi, was it? Or the Queen?
Or just to wander around the forest and see if we can manage anything.
And she is the Queen of the Woods, or all of fake kind, or is she is where is her queendom? I should say.
And Harrod, who is still helping put everything away and away from the rest of it, nevertheless turns her as she hears this question. She is the queen of broken branches. Not all fey kind, nor do all fey kind consider her kind. But she has in the past very kind to this.
Oh, you cut out for a second there. She has in the past what?
Very kind to this Angharad bin.
Oh,
To
I don't know if you have an adjustable mic, Kira.
Yeah, do I need to turn it up?
Yeah, just a little bit, or like move it a little closer because the accent's dropping your lower
Oh.
syllables.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
to use terms that hunters and civilians might be useful. She's an archfey.
Is that familiar, Joe?
that term is that is like the most accurate term to a human understanding. Archfey has a direct like more directly means to humans that this particular fey is a league above a standard fae. This is a creature that for all of the hunters for all that the hunters are aware of, this creature breaks some of the rules that hunters understand about them. That's basically it. Like, it is a fae, and it supposedly has some of these qualities, but fuck me if we ever meet it. Like, very few hunters have ever met an archfey, and ones who have claim a bunch of different things, like, that are just wildly different.
Personally, I'd like to avoid both of them and take our chances finding it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Lecter there. I don't like either options.
I do not think the fae are so bad. If this is a fae, and he gestures, and Pierre gestures to Angharad, and if this little guy is a fae, and he gestures to the furnace cats.
Have you encountered Fae besides them?
Eh,
What you're not understanding, Pierre, is that Fae do not operate on our moral system. Whereas we see things as good or evil, they see things as fun or not fun. In other words, none of us can properly comprehend them.
That's generally speaking, at least. No offense.
Not
No,
only that, I'm not convinced that the Queen of Broken Branches even has what we're looking for. She does take in lost things, but we're looking for a girl that has a box. In other words, she might be here and thus not lost.
we're not saying, just clarifying for you, Piper. We're not saying that she had either one of these have the girl, just that they would be able to help us get her faster and easier than the other things that are hunting this girl.
There's also no way that she's just gonna help us for free, and you don't want to trust Vapax.
I guess the idea would be, well, if we have something we can offer as a trade, maybe trinkets, perhaps things that we're not attached to.
Logically, that it would be far better for us to go and just find her, but unfortunately, I do think that we will need to make a pact with one of these devils.
I
Otherwise, we
very much
risk far
disagree.
too much.
We risk much, but we also lose nothing.
Well, if we lose the box and we lose this girl, we could be dealing with another weirding situation, and then we lose everything that we've built over the past generation.
Angharad, you were saying something?
Yes, I wasn't sure if my mic was cutting out again. I moved it. Is this better?
Yeah, like we hear you fine normally. It's just when you're going into your accent that some of the slower, quieter syllables drop is where it is.
All right. Well,
Mhm.
hopefully this will be. What was the last thing? Lose anything? Right.
Mhm.
And what of the life of the young girl? Wouldst thou not stand to lose her life? 'Tis not such a bad thing to treat with fae, as long as the rules are followed.
Okay, so
Even then,
can you run down about the rules? You've met them, right? Or at least one of them? What rules do they use?
to make it clear, oh, gone.
No, after you.
So you're asking to entreat with people who can shapeshift, literally steal memories and our names, can fly, shapeshift, mentally screw with us. These are the kind of people that you're asking us to treat with. And they may or may not follow the rules, but they will twist it to their advantage in ways that probably we can't. You understand the danger here, yes? Because I'm not convinced that you do.
And Herod just tilts her head. Are men not capable of similar evil? I would say to thee that they are.
And to be perfectly fair, I believe all of us knew that we were going to have to deal with something, or rather unpleasant weather, while we entered the woods.
If it is good humour, nature, then the Queen would be willing to treat. Dee Dee is, well, I find men do not take a liking to her.
Is that do you mean men as in and he Pierre like does two hands to his own chest? Men, or do you mean men as in human?
Children of Adam.
Uh,
I believe she
Paige
means.
just tilts her head.
I believe she means human, Pierre.
Pierre looks over to Willow, and you can see him do a head nod with a silent "thank you."
Paige is just like, her face just got instantly scrunched up with confusion. It's written clear across her face. I'm just like, who the fuck is Adam?
Just a
I can
forewarning, Angarad.
And also,
But don't
if it-
believe that you've been in a city recently, but the particular scripture and belief system that you're referring to is not widely known any longer.
Ah, is that so? She looks down. Well, I suppose word must have spread. What a shame. What a terrible tragedy.
So you may need to just be a little bit more descriptive on occasion. Just a forewarning.
Or maybe a bit less
Less a bit?
descriptive for my sake.
What'd you say, Amy?
Essentially the same thing. Paige said, a lot of it? They said the same thing in different ways.
Both of the Frenchies are both just like, could you please dumb it down?
Please, for the love of God, English isn't our first language.
Like Herod looks to the others and inclines her head. Please forgive the Sangharata trespass. What I mean to say is that the Queen is by far the most palatable.
Madigan, do you have iron on you?
Do I? I don't think so.
I thought you did.
Uh, you guys okay?
We've hit that point of the night where the brain is slowly
Bruh.
starting to like
I mean, that
dissolve.
was funny. No, that was funny. That was legitimately funny.
No, I think that Irish just just aligned with like a core part of my humor. And here apparently it just got us really good. Perfect
That was just very
You
funny.
have-
The timing on it was very funny.
timing was so good.
You
Okay,
have
sorry.
a giant fucking steel hammer.
Yeah. Is that iron? Does that count?
Yeah, steel and iron are alloys of one another, so you can
Oh.
they are effectively for all intents and purposes the same.
I also have a shovel. I don't know if that also if the end of that still counts, but yeah.
Oh, you have the shovel with you. I thought you gave it to what's her name?
Did I? No, because we had her
You had her copy the sigils.
yeah, with like
Yeah.
charcoal copy.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got this, and I've got this. And she kind of points behind her to where her like bedroll was, because she's still laying flat on the floor, looking at this thing.
Electra just kind of sighs and holds her hand out. Toss me the shovel, please.
You can go get it.
Oh, is it not by you?
No, like her little resting area was here. She's
Alright. You
She's
don't mind if I
distracted.
borrow that for this encounter?
mm,
I don't
she
think
actually
my whip will be affected. Unless it is because it's special. Side eyes
Mm.
to God. Joe, that's you.
Sorry, hold on.
She's gonna read
Sorry,
it again.
repeat that.
He's reading.
it's blessed,
r-
isn't it?
the shovel?
The whip.
No, the whip.
The
If
whip.
my
Oh, the whip. Yes, your whip is consecrated and blessed. It doesn't have iron on like the business end of it, but I thought you had a short sword or something as well.
I don't think I do. But the point is, it wouldn't be effective against Fae.
It would not be. It would still be like a useful weapon, but having it being consecrated does not make it effective any more or less against Fae.
Yeah,
It'd
that's
be
what I
like
figured.
using a whip against a person, where it is still a really fucking painful whip, but it's not like magically effective.
Electra sighs as she stands up, picks up the shovel.
Willow just kind of like watches her move around and pick up the shovel and like prowls forward for a moment. Are you looking for a weapon?
Well, in case things go bad, we're gonna need some form of iron to take care of them. Not that we can,
It's just
but
Angharad
fucking
sighs deeply.
moves her jacket out of the way and just picks up a fucking machete in a sheath and just hands it to
she looks at it and then to you, as if like she doesn't say anything, but she's looking at you like, you want to fucking explain yourself why you haven't been using this? But she takes it.
She's been
You know
using a
what?
fucking flame sprayer. That does much more damage, ma'am.
It's also like, ew.
So Angharad sees this happening and she lets out a sigh. And it's hard to see her features, but she's frowning a bit. I shall warn thee. Taking such things into the company of the Queen shall be quite upsetting for her. If thou wishes to treat, is it not better to approach on even ground?
If there was such a thing as even ground between us and her, perhaps. But the fact is, she is a weapon all on her own. So she is, and always will be, armed.
I caution thee, hunter. Among the things of great importance, hospitality numbers second highest. If thou takest a weapon into her realm, that is a breach of hospitality.
Well, how are we supposed to protect ourselves then?
So you both would know as hunters, there is supposedly a blanket rule that all Fae must obey. One of several, but one of these blanket rules is the law of hospitality. The law of hospitality is if you enter the home of a Fae, or the domain of a Fae, or entreat with a Fae, the Fae will outline very clear rules, and then if you follow those rules, you will be entirely safe. And the Fae will not hurt you, or take advantage of you, or strike any bargains that would come out aggressively towards you. And that if I'm not sure if you recall, but there is an NPC that hunters typically entreat with who is a Fae, who kind of stalks the perimeter around the northwestern-ish area of Termark, who is Varhesh. Varhesh is a Fae merchant who has been like the kind of encyclopedia of Fae for all of Termark, because he is one Fae that routinely deals with people because he likes people. He thinks they're weird and quirky and stupid, but like in a good way.
He just thinks they're neat.
Yes. But Varhesh does trade with the hunters and consult with them, and there are many hunters who, when they go out to hunt or specifically interact with Fae, they will, if they run into Varhesh, entreat with him and trade information for goods or goods for information. And but one of the things that you would know is the law of hospitality is like when you go there, typically one of the rules is brandish no weapon, and thus we can both mean no harm. There is always a power dynamic in play, but you would also understand that like carrying weapons with you is not unusual for humans. It's the entreating process of like, hey, we'd like to parlay with you and talk to you about something. Then it becomes, okay, give up your weapons, we will entreat. And then the rules are laid out.
You can hear Electra whisper under her breath, "Fucking Faye."
Maddie will, because she's on her stomach right now, so she'll roll over so she's on her back and kind of can look up at mostly everyone that's around her. And she just kind of shrugs a little bit. She's like, look, I'll be honest with you guys. I don't know. I don't like either option. But if we're going to pick one of these two, I mean, y'all have to lead. You guys will have to lead. I'm not much of the talking type. Great in a fight, though. So.
Oh, also, I'm sorry. I gotta do this before I forget. Maddie, you can take precisely 1 wound of damage to yourself as you reach out and try to, in the midst of some of this conversation going over your head, you touch the cat. They are as soft and pleasant as you had wanted them to be, but that is quickly overshadowed by the searing pain in your fingers as you have basically touched a hot stove.
Okay, she can heal.
A very, very cute purring hot stove, but a hot stove nonetheless.
It purred?
Well, they were purring like before you touched them.
They're in the happy sleep mode where it's just purrs.
Mhm.
Maddie
Worth it.
got 100% worth. 100%. 1 wound? Hell yeah. I would have taken 5.
Do we heal 1 wound overnight or?
Yes, overnight you heal all your strain and 1 wound, and you can roll for a critical injury.
Okay. So I just
Roll
want
to heal a critical injury. Sorry, not get one.
All right. Can I continue or?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
No worries. Just checking in.
Mm-hmm.
Looking from Electra to Madigan, you sort of see Eggherod's shoulders roll as she's considering something. Then, a compromise shall I offer thee? I can act as messenger unto the Queen, Harry. If I set the terms of the agreement, then that shortcuts a bit of the unpleasantness for thee.
Oh. To be
Have we had a
fair, if you're
conversation of why she's with us? Sorry, just out of character.
yes, she is a friend of Hawk's, so Maddie's mentor person that sent us on this quest. And
Okay.
so there's a level of trust with her because she knows Hawks and kind of what's going on.
Mm-hmm. She has some like intuitive understanding of like, oh, there's some weird woman who's been traipsing through the woods, a girl, and supposedly she has some magic thing with her. So she is aware of the rumors and also has that connection to Hawk, which kind of a Hawk would not casually befriend any creature from the woods. So to have the up and up with Hawk is intriguing and at least valuable in that right.
Okay,
And-
continue.
And
Like-
although Electra may not care, Maddie likes her.
Maddie likes everybody until they fuck Maddie over.
Yep.
Willow just it's like brewing a very, very dark like tea. Very as much caffeine as she can manage to squeeze out of a couple of spoonfuls of tea leaf. And will pour a cup for whoever is willing to take some. But as soon as Ankarad is like offering to go as a messenger, Willow's like head pops up. Well, if you're going to see the Queen, well, if it's not too much of an issue for you, I would like to tag along. I've never met a Fey Queen before. It'd probably be very educational at the very least. And if there's any Fey technology or little trinkets I could study, it would be most beneficial.
That may be arranged. I can quite easily find.
You cut out after find.
Find the
Fine.
queen when I have need of her. I'm like
Okay.
eating the mic. I will fix it. I'm sorry.
It might be your
The mic is fickle as though it were a fae.
it might be your
Indeed.
input sensitivity as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to turn that up, I think, when I'm doing that.
Mhm. But Paige was just kind of just like quietly just staring at the fire. She was listening. I don't know, but she's just sitting very quiet as she just listened, and her head kind of just like tilts up a bit. And she like raises up like a little hand to wave. I'd like to join too. If that is okay.
And if my vote counts, I would like to see the fae. I think they seem interesting. If they're anything like how you seem to be, and he gestures to Anghared.
So long as you manage to keep your mouth closed.
He there is like, I don't know how to describe it, but you know that look in a lot of animes where a character is it kind of just goes uh, like half lidded, like I I I just got slam dunk and I don't know how to react to that.
They're reacting to their own cringe. Pat on the back from Paige.
You feel part of Pierre's soul shrivel and die inside.
It's okay, you can get a new one.
Electra just kind of sighs. All right, I'm gonna go pick some flowers. Maddie, wanna come with?
Yeah,
But
sure.
you say that I would rather we didn't do this. But if we have to, I would prefer the queen and not someone that, eats people and has their skin. I think it's the what's that expression? The one that's not, not as bad.
The lesser of two
The,
evils. However,
Thank you.
Rock in a hard place.
I would like to point out that, as wholly unpleasant as Dee Dee sounds, any agreement with Dee Dee would probably be much more straightforward because it would just be letting her go.
that is I suppose what is the way you say it? Having all of the gods.
In some ways.
Indeed. If thou treatest with deity, thou hast all power at thy disposal. This is not so with the queen.
The only thing there is that if we let Didi go, she's probably going to just let other people.
But we do. But it is all about the contract, the agreement. That is the Fey thing, is it not? And he looks to you, Anchored, like, right? We just
She
make her
needs.
agree that she cannot stay outside forever. She has to just go back to jail.
How many people was she killed before that?
Well, ideally, we would make sure that killing other people is also in the contract.
And Hera just once again tilts her head. I wonder, dost thou hold hunting hound in the same regard?
Do you mean like a dog?
Yes, a dog. A dog that hunts foxes. Have you ever wondered how many foxes a dog has killed? So it is with Didi. She is hungry. She eats. It is only that the food is not so palatable to thee.
His eyes go a little wide for a second, and he kind of pulls at his collar. I
Exactly
did not
the
think
point,
about that
so.
before, but now I am concerned about how many foxes my dogs may have killed.
Right, but that's even more reason to not let her go. She can't help it. She needs to, eat like that. So we
But
can't
yes,
really have a contract to her to not, do that. If it's in
but
her
if
nature.
she, but then she is in jail, and she is what is it? It's is this starving? Is that torture? Is it fair? I don't know.
Oh, she's
Don't make
probably
the
in jail for
rules.
a reason. Why would we break
I,
her out?
we should not. I, I, he just kind of stammers, and then he'll switch to French and be like, "Okay, I'm not making the rules. Just pick someone because I don't know if we should split up, but we should go with whoever has the most votes."
She looks at him and she's like, "What do you think a vote does?" I already said I prefer the queen because it's not a person that feeds off of people.
Fine, then 2 votes queen. Then he holds up 2 fingers and says
If
in
we
English, 2 votes queen.
if we had to choose between one of them, I would also choose the queen. I'd rather deal with her than a carnivore. And she said that in quotation marks.
She Willow was had has her cup in front of her, is just sipping on it, just watching, and she had turned half body, just listening to the argument in French back and forth, just taking it in. Here's Electra, and then there's this little smirk, and she just slowly turns her head towards Maddie.
Maddie had her arms crossed when she heard what Herod said. And she kind of turns her head, still laying on the floor, by the way. It turns her head to an Herod, and she's like, "Does Edie torture her prey?"
GM consult.
Uh,
Doesn't she
you
keep them alive and eat them?
you would know. You couldn't know for certain, but from the stories you were told, Dee Dee did not torture people. She did gruesomely kill them, but she did not torture them. It was not like they. It is worth noting that they weren't skinned alive. They were killed, and then the gory things happened afterwards.
What's the difference between a hound? I don't think a hound wears the skin of the fox it killed.
No,
It
but
kind of falls in.
the human that points the hound does, so it's almost as bad,
Yep.
if not
Oh, that's
more, in
fair.
a lot of ways.
And Herod considers for a moment. Upon the weak and sickly does she feed? I have never known her to toy with a man.
Queen it is.
Very
We're
well.
going
Right.
Shall I approach her first myself? Will the rest of you agree to doff your weapon?
I'll follow the law, fear not.
Paige just
Pierre.
shrugs.
Pierre nods, and he will make a bigger show of it. He stands up and like reaches into, like, he'll kind of swing his shoulder pouch around, or shoulder pack around, undo the flap, and pull out the gun, and then grab it by the hand, or like the barrel, so that the wooden handle is facing, and he'll hold it out to you, Anghared. Be like, I offer you this, my weapon, to show that I cannot possibly mean harm.
And Herod reaches out curiously, but she does take the gun. Freely offered, unfreely taken. So it is. Thou meanest no harm.
He looks a little nervous, but also very, like, satisfied. Like, yeah, no harm. There we go. And then he looks back at Paige, like, see, it is that easy.
That was so extra.
What do you mean it was extra? What are you doing? And he starts to walk back towards you. You have a
Shrug.
problem with how I am? This
Shrug.
theatrics. It runs in our family.
Shrugs again.
Well,
And the rest of thee?
Oh, Paige is gonna fucking pull out her gun and just like, I don't know, where are we putting them? Fucking.
And Herod is going to, I imagine what she will, which will explain if asked, is probably hide them somewhere outside of so that they're not necessarily brought in. Like a false tree hollow or some shit like that.
Oh, Paige is probably gonna do a little showmanship of her own. Gonna pull out her gun, take off her hat, and just very, very. Hey, you okay? Yeah. I'll be right back.
Oh no.
Aw, poor pupper.
Also, get ready for flashbang because I forgot to activate the daytime scene.
I was wondering if there was a daytime one.
Okay,
There is a daytime one. I just
Sorry.
forgot to activate it, and I was like
Is it throw
watching
up
the little
or
thing
reverse sneezing?
fire.
I think it was reverse sneezing, which is very indistinguishable from his throw ups.
Oh,
Yeah, so I'm just like every time you must check. Because he will run under the bed and then vomit down there. Fuck, where was? Oh yeah, Paige is going to do her own little showmanship, not getting up and going up to her and fucking presenting her heart like. Actually, sorry, I meant her gun, like Pierre did. But still sitting on like a tree log, I think. Just takes out the gun, takes off her hat, makes like a little ooh, goes behind the gun, brings her hand back out. The gun's there. Puts the gun in the hat. Brings her hand out. Gun's gone. Turns the hat upside down. Gun's not there. Turns the hat over. Where'd it go? Oh well. Shrug. Put the hat back on.
From behind the veil that Agharit is wearing, you see a quick flash of amber as her eyes seem to light up for a second. And she leans forward. What manner of conjuration was that?
Is a sleight of hand?
A sleight of hand. Canst thou do more of it?
I don't believe we actually have time for that, because she will go on for hours.
I didn't go on for hours, but we can walk, and I can show you all lots of tricks.
I do distinctly remember that your show could potentially go very long.
But some of them do. Some of them are very short. It depends on the audience, you know. Some people have very short attention spans.
Thou shalt find the Zanghara to be very attentive.
Okay, so I can show you some more tricks on the way.
And so it is, on the way.
She nods. She like gives Pierre just like the shit-eating grin. She's like, Pierre could too. He knows some too, but I'm better, so I can show you.
Ingharid laughs, kind of amused by this, and turns to Willow and just inclines her head. She doesn't say anything this time. She just inclines her head.
In the amused way or in the expectant way?
Expectant, but good-natured.
Willow just kind of like blinks at her and looks down. And you can see her like lift her one side of her cloak and the very weird looking weapon on her hip. And you can see that it is not so easily just like given, because there are tubes and shit that are disappearing into her coat.
Mm.
And she just kind of like stares at it for a second and then nods and will opposite side, like on her belt, just pop out a whole bunch of canisters. I can't really give you the flame spray itself, but I can give you the things that make it particularly dangerous. Like the bullets from a gun.
A fair compromise? Freely given and freely accepted? And then she turns to Maddie.
Oh boy.
Maddie, good friend I just met.
Maddie and Electra, you're gonna have a lot harder time with.
Good luck.
Mm,
And that's cannon noise that you're hearing.
Maddie kind of looks to Ingharid and tries to look at Electra, but can't really see through the fire. So she kind of like does the whole little lean further up her shoulders and then like kicks up essentially. So she's standing. And she kind of looks at Electra.
I'm not happy about it either, but they're gonna get themselves killed without us.
They won't harm us if we give up our weapons, right? You can promise that.
Thou hast my word. So long as thou come in peace and meanest no harm
Shall.
shall be done to thee. Sorry.
There you go.
Maddie will move over to Electra and kind of lean towards her and be like, "All right, can we talk real quick?
Of course we can.
We'll be right back." Pull her back, just slightly out of earshot, so they can talk a little. Um, Look, I really don't feel comfortable with this, and I don't really want to go into the Fey realm.
I don't either.
Mm. they really need someone. They really need the protection that we can't just leave them to do whatever. And I
They
mean,
can take care of themselves, even if we pretend like they can.
what do you mean?
The performer girl.
Yeah,
You look over your shoulder and you can see in the distance Paige and Pierre doing some weird card trick to Anghared's amusement.
yeah, like the performers and like yeah, Willow's kind of like has her flamethrower thing, but there's only goes so far, you know.
Maddie, she can use magic.
Well, yeah, duh. That's
No,
not really
Maddie.
gonna help though.
Maddie. She can use magic.
Use the weird. There you go.
Is that like an actual term, or
It is not so. No, you're using the right term for the hunters, because hunters would defend like there's no way to parse when someone says magic as in stage magic versus magic as in like magic. But yeah, weird is a term, but it's not as it actually no,
It would,
that's more of
it
like an above table thing.
Okay.
wouldn't it be
Now that I think about it.
Well,
wouldn't it be just the equivalent calling her a weirdling at that point?
Almost.
That's the beauty of this
Well,
character, baby.
that's another question then. If weird is an above table term, is weirdling a character
Weirdling
thing at all?
Weirdling is a in universe in character thing. But weird as a form of denoting magic in Termarked is not common. It might be common outside of Termarked, but for Termarked, the church has popularized just calling it magic as like a strictly like it is bad and it is a trick of like some kind of ulterior thing. I'll actually go back on what I said. It's not strictly an above table term. I think weird is something that would come from outside Termarked. So for certain Explorer Guild members who are traveling between cities, they would have heard people say like, yeah, people who are weird gifted or gifted with the weird. And that means they are like able to perform magic. But to Termarked, there is no weird. There is just magic, which has caused initially some struggle for you, Paige. But once people understood that you are a performer, they started to understand, oh, it's all tricks and illusion, but it's like good kind. The fun kind, not the vampiric turn you into a thrall kind.
Yeah, it's just a card
Maddie,
trick.
Maddie, think for a moment. Why would someone like her risk her lives without any form of protection? I don't care what she says, she can't use that gun.
I don't know.
She can
I
use the
mean,
word, Maddie.
look, I don't know why they're here. It was their choice. All I know is that Hawk said the person who spoke to her saw them here, and I trust Hawk.
And one thing we gotta know, she says she's from Hawk, but did we get any proof of that?
I mean, I talked to her a bit last night. It seemed like it.
You talked to Hawk?
No, Inherit.
Oh.
And
No,
she
we
is
don't.
wearing one of
And
Hawk's
yeah,
old armors.
I was just about to say that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd know that armor anywhere.
So are you advocating for or against protecting them?
I'm saying we should protect them. but I really would prefer not going to the Fey realm. I was hoping maybe you would be suited enough for that.
I mean, I'm trying to, but they seem to trust this person completely, and they're ignoring everything I say. So,
What do you mean?
did you not see me arguing with them about why we definitely should not go to the fair?
Well, I don't.
We can both of us stick our heels in the dirt and tell them to go on without us. Maybe
We
without
can't
any.
do that.
Sure, we can.
It's our job to protect them.
No, our job is to hunt for the thing. They're going on a side trip to go ask to see if a fairy might know if they have it. Why are they even with us?
Look, I don't know, but they have their part to play. That's all I know.
I said I was going to go with them, didn't I? That's why I was going to go look for flowers. Gotta make some sort of offering.
Huh.
That's why I was going to have you with me. We need to prepare 3 bouquets for them.
Oh well, yeah, I can help with that. But I was more going to say, like, I don't want to go into the Fey realm myself.
So what, you want to stay behind and have me deal with them?
I mean, you're better equipped than I am.
Better equip. You literally have the only anti-fey weapon among us.
Well, we wouldn't be bringing our actual weapons. I meant you're like smart, okay?
She just kind of sighs and like rests against the tree. She's already pulling out the flask to take it a large gulp of it.
Maddie holds her hand out, expecting some.
She answers.
And like nothing else, I can watch our stuff, okay? I'll just be right outside.
Right outside. You know how the Fae works. Right outside might be 20 miles from here.
I'm trying to be reassuring. It's not working. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. You don't have to.
Oh,
You don't have to pretend with me. Like I know what kind of shit we're in. If you want to stay behind, I'm not gonna stop you. But I don't think it'd be a good idea for you to simply wait either.
I mean, I could, I guess, see what I could find in the nearby area, but I wouldn't want to go too far.
I have a question above table for you, Iris.
Yeah.
During the text RP, did you at all ask Anghared about any fortune-telling fae?
I don't
No,
think so, no.
that did not come up.
I will give you this for free then. If you remember, Hawk specifically said that they ran into a fortune teller fae who supposedly could see into the future.
Yeah,
And
that's where this
very
mission came from, right?
yes, precisely. And all of this spawned from Hawk getting that future telling. And there are no like there are no fortune telling fae as far as you are aware. There are no fae who dabble in trying to divine and see the future, partially due to that restriction on truthfulness and the future being nebulous.
Hmm.
This could be the place to ask about a fortune teller fae to see if Hawk might have had the wool pulled over her eyes without realizing it. Though Hawk seemed very convinced based on the prophecy
Yeah.
she was given. If there's any nested doubts within Maddie's mind,
Thing
you,
is,
it's
Maddie
possible.
did ask that to Hawk.
And Hawk was very genuinely, earnestly convinced.
Yeah. And Maddie doesn't think Hawk is someone who could be tricked like that. She's
Maddie
like the
doesn't have the
paragon.
suspicious bone.
Yeah, she does have suspicious bones, but not when it comes to her friend.
Okay.
Particularly. That's the biggest thing. Like Hawk is the paragon here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. I just want to throw that out there because I don't know if it was brought up at all.
Mm. But yeah, Maddie just seems kind of uncomfortable with the idea of going to the Fey realm in general, and just like I don't want to leave them alone, but I also really don't want to go.
Oh, she can't make a decision one way or the other.
Why don't you go meet up with Hawk?
Mhm.
Go meet up with her, verify her, maybe knock some sense into her.
We've already got this plan going, though. Who knows how far she's gotten?
That's why it's best to start now, while you're unburdened by the rest of us.
I I don't know about that. I want to, trust me, I do, but
I'm trying to give you a way that you can leave while still being useful to the rest of us, because if you're just gonna sit there, you're not gonna be useful at all. And we have to prioritize efficiency here.
true. But if I'm leaving the group partially, uh, I need to make sure you're not going to leave them because you seemed about ready to leave too, and they
No,
need protecting.
I was going to stick with them, as much as I do not want to.
You swear?
No, of course not. What do you think of me, stupid? I'm in the Phalanx. I don't make promises.
Maybe just face palms. No, neither of us are Fae. Technically.
I'm just saying. You might be a Fae shapeshifted into Maddie for all I know. I'm just saying, I can't prove it.
Okay, how can I prove it then?
The point is, I'm not swearing to anybody about anything.
I mean, you swore to be a hunter, right?
So, I mean, more like promise. And that's when she just kind of smiles. I will stay with them until they get so stupid that they are clearly abandoning their own lives. In which case, I am not going to go and kill myself. And that's
No.
probably the best you're going to get from me.
Give me a second. Well, we've got a bit of ways to go till we get there. I think. So, I mean, at least we'll be grouped up till then. Okay.
All right.
Maddie will hand back the. She'll take a quick swig of the whiskey and then hand it back to Electra. And she'll head back to the group. Hey, sorry about that.
When you come back, you see that everyone is still around the only remaining part of the camp, which is the campfire. And the cats within the pit have both woken up and are, well, the little one is being groomed by the big one,
Um,
getting ready for the day.
Inka, look, I'm gonna just hold on to my weapons for now, at least till we get closer. Is that cool?
Is there something the matter? Can I set thee at ease?
I mean, we've still got some time to travel. Who knows what we could run into, you know?
You have to understand that for a hunter, to give up that weapon is to give up that life. And while we could just while we do trust you to an extent, we're not quite ready to give you our lives just yet.
She looks from one and to the other and back. Very well. I shall just have to prove myself worthy of them.
I
Away
mean,
we go.
it's not you that I don't trust. It's just, others.
Rest
It's not,
assured. Oh, go on.
it's not you. It's them.
Rest assured. So long as this.
You cut out again.
Oh, because I was thinking. I was doing a dramatic pause. Goddamn. So long as this unhatted breeze, no harm shall come. Not without a fair bit of their own bloodshed.
Well, I guess that's what family's for, huh? Kind of wraps her arm around Ingrid.
And Herod just softens. She has a very weird posture most of the time, but she does soften. And she hugs Maddie back and just sort of like, how tall is Madigan again? She's short, right?
She's very
Yep,
short.
she's
Yeah, she's short.
5'3".
She's a short stack.
And Herod will just tousle her hair a little bit. Yes. Family. Yes.
By the way, what's up with the mask?
What's up with what?
The mask.
Oh, the veil?
Yeah.
It's something that reminds me of home.
Mm.
Does it disturb thee?
No, not at all. Just really interesting. How does it remind you of home?
That, much as a hunter would not trust their life to anyone, will you permit the Sangharad that secret?
Fair enough. Sorry for asking.
There's no harm in question.
So, just kind of pokes around in here and looks at the rest of the group. Are we getting going then?
I think we were waiting on you. So if you're ready, yes.
I think Electra wanted to get some flowers or something. So we could do that on the way.
A lot of flowers.
Yes.
And we've unlocked another key phrase for Paige.
What? What is wrong with liking flowers?
It's just this kind of little smirk.
She just throws her hands up for a second before she just fucking picks up her fucking bag, which is very, very tiny. Fucking stands up. She just like mutters under her breath. Just what you say kills my plans. I will be very upset with them. And she's just like, okay, so pretty flowers underway? Yeah.
Okay. Then with that, you all make your way off to the Fey court of the Queen of Broken Branches.
And I'm just gonna above table. I know this is kind of a meta thing that you may not want to do, Joe.
Uh-huh.
But just confirming, we're gonna go straight to the court. We're not planning on having another combat before that.
Correct.
Okay.
You are at this location, you are close enough that I'm willing to just say, all right, yeah, you'll go straight to the court.
Because then we're gonna have to have negotiations to get our shit back.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I imagine Angharad is just going to hide it somewhere to elide that, except for the hunters, who we're just going to have to make some explanations for.
Which is not uncommon. Fae
Yep.
have been treated with hunters on many occasions, and many of them are reluctant to give up their weapons, which are typically of iron, and it does cause a great deal of discomfort among the Fae. But I will say as one last piece of narration, as you all finish packing up and finish your last bits of tea and maybe even coffee if you have the beans, you finish packing everything back. You have finished eating and preparing. The last little thing is as you clean up, you see the little dirt hole that you had dug and is now filled with ashes and sits with the small, well, not too small, the two cat creatures that smolder inside of the pit. And as you begin to walk, there's a moment where you wave goodbye and so long to the little cats, and you start your hike. It's a few hours of hiking to get there, but as you are hiking, you begin to notice that you are being followed by a pair of very dark shadows. These two little cats with much more subdued flames are following you about 40 or 60 feet back. And if you stop and try to walk near them, they run away to maintain that 40 to 60 foot distance.
We have friends.
But they are just very carefully following you, hoping maybe that you might set up another fire.
We're gonna set up so many fucking fires. Paige is ruling this in now.
No fire.
Sorry, Smokey.
What's a bunch of cats? This is the argument of like we have the cats following us. We need to make fire.
I
We're not
wonder
taking
if
the
this
cats with us.
means these would be a prey species to the snuffhounds.
Yep. Yes, they would.
Points to the 2 hunters. They will protect them. Points to the 3 hunters, actually. Protection. Protect the cats.
Writing down in a notebook. We've discovered furnace cats. Furnace cats are eaten by snuffhounds.
When the cats are eaten by... We can build a wall of rocks around the fire to help them, protect them. Also hide the fire from view.
The best part is that these, like, I found these in one of the books that I'm using to like supplement this game, and the cats are just they're really just meant to look cute and not be petted, which is fucking funny because it's like, yeah, if you pet them, you deal 1d6 fire damage every time you touch them.
Oh.
They just constantly burn whoever touches them.